ValiCor US, Heat Signal Insights. The signal starts here. Welcome to Heat Signal Insights. Every week in military mental health, hospital emergency departments, and mental health practices across the country, a clinician senses something the screening tool doesn't confirm. The veteran who passes every readiness standard and still deteriorates. The patient who leaves the emergency department before the consult arrives. The therapy client whose verbal presentation doesn't match what the room is telling you. These aren't failures of clinical skill. They are the cost of tools built for populations that disclose freely, deployed on populations that don't. HEAT, Human Emotion Analysis Technology, is the real-time emotional intelligence signal layer for environments where what people can't say matters as much as what they can. Military readiness, clinical care, mental health practice, the settings where the standard tools reach their limit and where the gap between what a clinician senses and what the assessment confirms is measured in real consequences. Heat Signal Insights is a weekly video series from ValiCor US providing a direct look at the detection gaps, the clinical realities, and the technology being built to close them. No features deck, no pitch, just honest, focused conversations about the environments HEAT was designed to serve and the outcomes it exists to change. Each week, we go deeper into the evidence, the ethics, the stories from the field, and the future of emotionally intelligent care. Our first topic: the cost of asking, "Are you okay?" The most dangerous question in military mental health isn't the wrong one. It's the right one with the wrong tool. There's a question that gets asked 1,000 times a day across VA medical centers, military installations, and behavioral health offices. It's a simple one. Are you okay? And in almost every other environment, it's a reasonable place to start. But in a military culture, where strength is a survival skill, where stoicism is trained from day one, where saying "I'm fine" is the response that keeps your career, your clearance, and your team's confidence in you, that question doesn't give you an answer. It gives you a performance. The honest answer to "Are you okay?" in a military context is almost never the accurate one. That's not dishonesty. That's adaptation. That's what 18 months of training looks like when it meets a clinical checklist. And here's what makes that dangerous. The standard tools we use to detect distress, the PCL5, the PHQ-9, they are entirely built on the assumption that a person can and will accurately report what they're feeling. In a population trained to manage the outward expression of distress, that assumption fails silently. Not dramatically, silently. VA clinicians describe the same experience repeatedly. "I knew something was wrong. I just couldn't get the data to back up what I was sensing." Commanders see the same pattern. A service member clears every standard readiness screening and is cleared for deployment. And then a crisis occurs that had been building for months. 20 veterans die by suicide every day in the United States. That number has held largely steady despite decades of investment in mental health programming. Not because we don't care, because the tools we're using cannot see what we're trying to find. HEAT was built for this, not as a replacement for the clinical relationship, but as an early warning layer, a continuous, passive, non-invasive signal that gives clinicians and commanders the data to act before a crisis, not after, because the screening told you where a service member has been. HEAT tells you where they're heading. That's what Heat Signal Insights is here to explore, week by week. The detection gaps, the real stories, and the tools that are finally catching what the system has missed. See you next week. See what others miss. Change what matters most.